children, I'll take thee away into a land of enchantment. Come, little children, the time's come to play here in my garden of shadows.
Hello, I'm Runia, aka Media Adaptation, and welcome back to Moderation while Media's for a Game. And today's topic is a bit of an odd one, because, strangely enough, we're going to cover an Isekai story. But one that got cancelled right after the first chapter. But we'll get to that in a bit. This is a story of Cheat Slayer. We start off in a world where several heroes were isekai'd to. And with their power sets, they are able to quickly deal with the demons that plague the land. We then cut over to a pair of NPCs, discussing how the group, known as the Reincarnated, have brought peace to their land. Which, like any good story, is just like saying you're only 2 days away from retirement. As someone comes from behind and almost snaps his neck. Barely surviving on 1 HP, he fades in and out of consciousness, but sees someone violating his best friend's corpse. And then his companions show up, known as Looper and the Undead King, and tell him to clean up his mess. And now this is where we start to understand why this manga got cancelled so quickly. They made the Reincarnated as the villains. Which, in and of itself, isn't a bad idea. Kind of like a meta-commentary like Invincible or The Boys. But here, each of them are based on main characters from other series. Kirito from Sword Art Online, Looper from Re:Zero, Undead King is just Ainz from Overlord. You have Reincarnated as a Slime, Konosuba, and Tanya the Evil, just to name a few. To start off with, this is in very poor taste. And you're outright attacking other properties. I read through some of the interviews, and this was never the intention. But also, you're making them, well, glory hounds that abuse their power. It's just mean-spirited. But, to play devil's advocate, I do like this idea. It could have worked. One of my favorite animes of the past few years was Isekai Quartet, having 4 different animes cross over and interact with each other. To save this concept, keep their original personalities, but have the conflict be something like the fact that they were isekai'd. Give them the mindset of common gamers, kinda like Shield Hero. Make them goal-oriented. Focus on dealing with the main quest and not worrying about the aftermath. Having some of them use common gamer exploits like using NPCs as shields or baiting out big attacks that destroy villages or resources. Which really wouldn't be that big a stretch to some of them, as both Tanya and Ainz have very warped views of the world based on the worlds that they are isekai'd to. And he has no problem causing mass casualties. Oh, and I just love the Undead King's design, because he's also a reference to Asian Magus Bride, another anime that I really need to get caught up on. But back to the plot. A witch comes along, and is only able to save him because he wasn't truly dead. And she is another point of contention. I think the original idea was she was going to turn out to be evil herself, mostly given her attitude. But she has knowledge of them before they are reincarnated, basically calling them a bunch of degenerate weebs. And the only thing special about them are their abilities that she is dubbed cheats, which they have done nothing to earn. Bullshit? Kirito and Tanya both went through hell in their new worlds. Ainz's was the combined efforts of his whole guild over years. Rimuru, our slime, didn't have an OP power when he started out with, but is through his own ingenuity of combining skills. Need I go on? But anyway, the plan is to go after Lewis Crawford, aka God's Mistake, the one who attacked the village, and take his weapon which can kill gods, and then go after the rest. Now let's take a moment on him. I really don't know who he is. I believe he's supposed to be Shin from A Wise Man's Grandson. I could be wrong. But analyzing him, his deal was he got isekai'd and then had a normal life in a fantasy world, and then trained for over a decade. So, in my eyes, he earned that power. But no, here he's a creep who forces himself on women. Cause with that much power, who the hell is gonna stop him? He sees that Lute survived, and goes to kill him. But then he reveals that he knows about his past life, and uses that to set up a meeting later on to try and kill him. And that's where the story ends. Forever. Again, I wouldn't mind a more tactful take on this concept. But for now, it'll live as a reminder to think your plans through before you start a project. Because if you hit the ground running, don't be surprised if you end up falling on your face. Again, thanks to everyone who ends up watching this when this one first airs. We're still trying to get our original channel back from YouTube after they deleted it, unjustifiably, but that's turning out to be a long process. So we're going to be uploading stuff to this backup channel. So we'll try and keep the spam to a minimum, because, again, we had over 1,000 videos. We're not going to do all of them. A lot of them are going to get reworked. But I can't understate how much it would help out this channel to drop a like, share, or comment. We have a long way to get back to our 7K that we used to have, only about a week ago at this point. But from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you to everyone who stayed with us. Anyway, we still got a lot to do. As always, I'm Runya. Remember to take life in moderation.
Weep not for children, for life is this way.